I used to love doing these beautiful, intricate bullet journal spreads filled with photos and images and calligraphy that just made me really happy. It was a really beautiful creative outlet until it started getting in the way of me actually doing my tasks. Hey friends, I'm Abhas, and today I want to share with you a super simple bullet journal spread that I've used for about 4 years now. It's made looking back at my weeks, my months, and my years a lot more simple and a lot faster. I used to be that person who would print out beautiful photos, use that washi tape, create beautiful calligraphy to create the most wonderful bullet journal spreads you've ever seen. It was so much fun, but it was also quite the time suck. Sometimes I found myself at Wednesday not having created a spread at all and not really being able to keep track of my tasks, just having them kind of float around in my head. So I realized at some point that a bullet journal for me just has to be 3 things. First, it needs to be simple. If it's too complicated or too much of a time suck, I'm not gonna make the time for it. 2, it needs to be functional. It needs to actually help me keep track of my tasks and help me get closer to my goals and do better on my own habits. And 3rd, it needs to be aesthetic enough. Not aesthetic to the point where it's kind of interfering with the actual function of the bullet journal, but aesthetic enough that I feel excited to use it, that it feels a little bit like a creative outlet, that it feels like a special place that I can, keep track of everything in a neat, organized way. So this setup is my solution to fulfilling all 3 of those things in one place. I've tried and tested it, as I mentioned, for about 4 years now, and it's worked really well, and it's evolved with me over time. So hopefully you find it valuable, and let's dive right in.
So let's start with the weekly spread. So I like to keep my bullet journal in this Leuchtturm 1917 notebook, and I absolutely love it. So the first thing I do is I actually count out the dots to make sure that I can create 6 even columns across the page. And I leave about 2 rows of dots at the top and about 10 rows at the very bottom. And here you can see I'll use a ruler and a fine liner just to make sure I get everything nice and clean. The next thing I'll do is I'll take a brush pen and I'll actually write the days of the week all the way across in calligraphy. This just adds that nice little aesthetic touch that makes it a little bit more special than any old planner. Along the bottom, I'll write 4 things: passion and admin on the left-hand side, and then what is working and moments of joy on the right. I'll also go ahead and label the month across the top. We'll dive into what I do with these in a minute. Then, using a Tombow brush pen, I'll go ahead and create circles all the way across the top to label the dates next to each of the days of the week. And then I'll go ahead and write the numbers of the dates in there as well. And that's it. That's the weekly spread all set up. Then I actually start using it. And the first thing I do is I go through and add the main habits that I want to do daily and weekly. And here you can see me adding that I want to work out on Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Saturday. I'll also check my calendar and see if there are any events that I have, and then I'll also add any sort of Zoom events from my calendar into there and start writing down tasks that I have for the week along the very top. Typically those are work tasks at the very top. And I use a Google Doc to manage my work tasks, so I typically only pull them in here once I've managed them there. I'll also go ahead and add any daily habits I want to do. So you can see I'm writing down right 20 minutes every single day. Then I'll go ahead and start adding the tasks that I want to focus on for my passions on the very bottom. These tasks are typically some of the stuff that I'm working on creatively, like creating these videos or making art. Underneath admin, I typically add stuff like folding laundry or cleaning up. Then what I'll do is in the middle of the page, I'll take those tasks from the passion and admin categories and I'll add them as tasks broken down throughout the week. And here you can see I added a script, film, and edit video. Now you can create whatever categories might work for you. Passion and admin are the ones that I really like to use, but if you want to break up your categories a different way, feel free. Typically what ends up happening is I'll break up this bullet journal spread into 3 main sections. The top ends up being for work, the middle ends up being for my personal tasks, and the bottom ends up being habits and events that I have to attend. At the end of the week, or as I'm going through the week, I'll actually go through and use a highlighter to highlight any tasks that I did complete. If there's one that I need to push over to the next day, I'll typically make an arrow and then add it as a task for the next day. For the what is working and moments of joy sections, typically throughout the week, I'll think about what is working in my life, in my personal life, in work, etc., and add that as a little bullet there. And under moments of joy, I'll write down anything that made me really happy, any event or any experience that brought me some joy. Maybe it might be hanging out with my family or having a call with a friend. But I like to keep track of things that have been making me happy. And that's my weekly bullet journal spread. It's one that's really helped me organize my work life, my personal life, and the habits that I'm trying to create and build. Additionally, it helps me really reflect on the things that are important to me and make sure I'm moving forward. So whenever a month ends, I'll typically take 2 pages and break them up into a review of the previous month and then a setup for the next month. Along the review section, there are 5 main headings. The first is what is working, then wins, then learnings and things to improve, moments of joy, and moving forward. Underneath the new month, I typically create just 3. Important dates, habits, and mindset. So the first thing I do is I'll look back at all of the weekly spreads for the month, and I'll actually collect all of the things that are working, and I'll write them down under the what is working section. Additionally, I'll think about the things that were my wins for the month. What went really well, what am I super happy with, and add those in. Then I'm able to take a moment to think about things I learned, things I want to improve. And then I end by looking back at all the moments of joy that I wrote down and compiling those as well. Then I'll take a minute to sort of look at all of these sections and think about what I'm excited about moving forward. Typically, if something is working or is bringing me joy, I want to do more of it. If I learn something or I want to improve it, I typically want to do less of it. And under the new month, I'll just set up all the little important dates under important dates, and then the goals, habits, and mindsets that I want to focus on for the coming month. By making this dedicated time to reflect on how my month went, the things that I enjoyed, what brought me joy, I can actually take a moment to then recalibrate and decide what are the habits and the mindsets that I want to then build in the coming month to make sure I can make it even better.
So if you've seen my How to Review 2020 video, all of the questions that were in my weekly spreads and as well as in my monthly review spreads are kind of the same as the ones I asked at the end of the year. The really awesome part about the way I've structured this is that essentially if you ask yourself the right questions during the week and at the end of the month, when you're looking back at your year at the end of the year, all you have to do is look at your monthly reviews to sort of figure out what your wins were, what you learned, what your biggest moments of joy were, and what you're most excited about moving forward. So for me, my week only really starts once I've set up my bullet journal for the week. This typically happens on Monday mornings, the very first thing I do in the week, and it helps me kind of reset and recharge my coming week. It basically feels like a fresh start because I can take a minute to look back at everything that went well and things that maybe didn't go so well over the past week and see how I can remedy those and change those for the coming week. As you saw, I would write down exactly which days I was planning to work out. And if I had a specific habit in mind, like writing for 20 minutes every day, I would write that in for every single day as a habit that I would have to complete. This not only makes sure that I'm moving forward towards my goals, but it also makes sure that I'm making time for the things that I care about. By prioritizing the things that I really care about, I'm building my own happiness every day. Additionally, in looking back, I'm creating this deliberate self-reflection by thinking about what are the things that brought me the most joy and what are the things that have been working over my past week. And at the end of every month, when I ask myself, what did I learn and what are things I want to improve, I'm then choosing to take the best parts of the month with me and let go of the parts that weren't. My favorite part about this simple bullet journal setup is the fact that it's able to calibrate with you and evolve with you over time. This is not what the spread looked like 3 years ago, and it's probably not what it's going to look like 3 years from now for me. Maybe you don't really like asking yourself, what are the things that are working? Maybe you don't really want to keep track of your moments of joy. Change those questions and make them consistent so that they help you reflect on the things that are important to you. Include those in your weekly review, your monthly review, and then your yearly review so that you can keep track of how you're feeling about the things that are most important to you. Maybe you don't like breaking up your tasks by passion and admin like I do. Maybe you want to break them up by work, personal life, family life. However that may be for you, you can adapt this to whatever situation may work for you. This process, as well as this spread, really helps me stay organized and makes me feel like I'm moving closer and closer to my goals and dreams. And at the end of the day, whether it's in a planner, in a bullet journal, in a note on your phone, in a meditation, or talking with a friend, as long as you make this conscious, deliberate time to reflect on how your life is going and where you want to be going forward, it'll help you feel that sense of you're moving forward and help you feel like you're getting closer and closer to your goals and dreams. I hope that this in some way can help or inspire you to realize that you can take action towards your dreams and your goals. And if you have any questions, feel free to leave them in the comments down below, and I'll be happy to answer anything that comes up. Thank you so much for watching this video. I really hope you found it valuable, and I really enjoyed sharing my process with you. If you enjoyed this content, feel free to subscribe to my channel, and I hope to see you in the next video. I hope you show yourself some kindness.